double click in the middle or on the
In between the line.
In between the letters that are the headings for the columns, move your cursor and change your shape, do a quick double click. And how do you know if you might need to do this? If your amortization table is doing something weird, what's an indication you might need to widen your columns?
If your numbers coming back as like hashtags.
If you see a row of hashtags, students see that, they freak, all that means is this column isn't wide enough. Remember that the amount you borrow is the beginning balance, and it goes on a row all by itself. If you try to put formulas next to it, those formulas will not work. So on the second row, I'm going to come over under the payment, and using the payment function, now I said an interest rate at 6%, but that's 6% per year. How do I adjust that 6% annual rate for a monthly rate? Divide by 12 because there are 12 months in a year. And you don't have to do, Excel will do the arithmetic for you. So you can just type in 0.06 divided by 12 and it'll do the math. Okay, now we need to do the same thing for the number of periods. We have an 8-year loan, but again, we're going to make monthly payments. So how do we adjust the number of periods? 8 times 12, the number of years times the number of payments that you're going to make each year. Since we're doing this monthly, there are 12 months in each year. Again, you can just let Excel do the math for you and say 8 times 12. The present value is the amount you borrow. Remember to put it in as a negative number without commas. And there's your payment. The interest, now when we did this on Tuesday, we typed our interest rate in. But I want you to have your interest rate off to the side, and then you can just use a formula. So I'm going to put my interest rate over here in column F, and it doesn't really matter where you put it. And my interest rate is 0.06 divided by 12. And so I want Excel to do that math, so I put it in as a formula. All formulas must start with an equal sign. So I've got equal sign 0.06 divided by 12, and that will be my monthly interest rate. Yes?
Can you repeat again, why did you put the interest rate at F instead of B?
Because I want to use a formula. I don't want to type it in. And what this will do, you're going to build 4. You can, if you set it up here, you can go in and change it without having to retype everything. So hitting enter, the reason it shows 0 is because I don't have it formatted. I spread it out and it shows up as the right math. So now when I do my interest calculation, I'm not going to type in my interest rate. Again, this has to be a formula, so we're going to start with the equal mark. I want to multiply 0.05, so I click on where I have my interest rate, multiplication symbol, and then I click on my balance. Hit enter, and there's my interest. For principal reduction, that is the difference between the payment and the interest. So equal mark, click on that first payment, minus sign, click on the interest, hit enter. And then for the new balance, equal mark, click on the old balance, minus sign, click on principal reduction, hit enter. Now, at this point, we're ready to copy but I'm going to tell you up front, I have not done something I need to just so I can show you what happens, and then I'll go back and fix it, okay? So I'm going to copy my payment column by itself because sometimes Excel gets weird if you copy functions with other lines. Now, this is 8 years with monthly payments, so we're going to make 96 payments. So I need to go down 96 lines. I don't have to figure out exactly what it is, so I'm going to go a little bit too far, and then I can cut off what I don't need. Put the cursor over the lower right-hand corner until it changes shape. And I'm now you can copy the other three. Cursor in the middle of the cells to highlight all three together. And now to click and drag, put the cursor over the lower right hand corner, click, hold, and drag. And I'm going to tell you right now, this is going to not come out right. Now notice that my interest column is all zeros except for that first row. So let's put the cursor on that very first zero. And look at the formula in the formula bar. What is it doing? It is multiplying F2, which is this cell here, which is empty, times this cell here, which is okay. So we need to tell Excel not to move out of F1 because Excel is what we call a relational database, and so it assumes when you come down, you want all of those formulas to come down unless you tell it otherwise. You tell it otherwise with a $sign. Now it's automatically going to stay in row F because we're not moving sideways. But to tell it to stay in row 1, we put a $sign in front of the 1. So I'm going to go back to my formula here, and it's going to change from F1 to F $1. And now I need to recopy that column, and that should fix everything. Okay, so I hit my 0, and like I said earlier, I went a little bit too far. All you have to do is clear out what you don't need. Once you hit 0, this says you're finished, it's right. It doesn't matter if it's red or black. The red is just an indication that there's some rounding that we don't really see. Don't worry about the red. 0.00 means you've done it right. And to get rid of this other stuff, just highlight it and clear contents is the easiest way to do it.